You wake up already feeling behind. Not because anything went wrong, but because your mind never really shut off. Your phone lights up before you're fully awake. Emails, messages, a calendar packed with things that all feel urgent. You spend the entire day moving, switching tasks, solving problems, making sure nothing breaks. By the time night comes, you're drained mentally and emotionally. But when you check your bank account, nothing really changed. And that's the part no one prepares you for, because you were busy. You tried. You showed up. So why doesn't it feel like you're getting ahead? If you've ever had that thought, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to, why does money still feel heavy? You're not broken, and you're not behind. You're running into a misunderstanding that's been quietly built into how we talk about work and success. Being busy and building wealth are not the same thing. We've been taught they are. We praise long hours, late nights, and full calendars. We treat exhaustion like proof of effort. If you're tired, you must be productive. But busyness is often just motion without direction. Most jobs don't reward long-term value. They reward responsiveness, availability, and time spent being on, which means you can be productive all day answering emails, fixing problems, attending meetings, and still be financially stuck. That's not a personal flaw. That's a design choice. The misunderstanding happens when we assume working harder will eventually fix it. But wealth usually doesn't come from intensity. It comes from leverage and alignment. And that shift starts in your psychology before it ever shows up in your finances. When you're busy, you're reacting, responding to deadlines, requests, and other people's priorities. Your focus stays short-term, what needs attention, right now. When you're building wealth, your focus changes. You start thinking about direction, about what continues to matter even when you stop actively working. Leverage means your effort has a longer life than the hours you put in. Direction means knowing where you're actually headed, not just what you're trying to survive. Most people never reach that second mode because busyness fills every quiet moment. And here's the part we rarely talk about. Busyness feels emotionally safe. It gives you identity, structure, and a reason to feel useful. It keeps uncomfortable questions at bay. If you're busy, you don't have to sit with uncertainty or doubt. Wealth building often feels the opposite at first. It feels slow, uncertain, and almost boring. Saving money you don't get to enjoy right away. Learning skills that don't pay off immediately. Saying no to things that feel urgent but don't actually move your life forward. There's no instant feedback loop, no applause, no obvious progress. So your brain pulls you back to what feels productive, staying busy. Picture two people. One works non-stop, overtime, always available. Their income grows only when their hours grow. If they stop, the money stops. The other works fewer visible hours but spends time building skills, systems, or ownership that compounds over time. From the outside, the first person looks disciplined, reliable, and hardworking. From the inside, the second person is building something quieter, but far more stable. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The second person often looks lazy at first, or unfocused, or like they're not pushing hard enough. That social pressure matters. We live in a culture that confuses exhaustion with progress. Here's where most people get trapped. They're so focused on staying afloat that they never get the space to think about direction. Rent is due, groceries cost more every year, family expectations sit quietly in the background. When your nervous system is stuck in survival mode, long-term thinking feels unrealistic, even irresponsible. So if you're busy because you're trying to survive, that's not weakness, that's human. But survival mode isn't a wealth-building strategy. Wealth requires margin, especially mental margin. And margin only appears when you start questioning where your effort is going, not just how much effort you're putting in. This is the turning point most people miss. Wealth isn't about intensity, it's about alignment. Aligned effort compounds. Misaligned effort just drains you. Think about compound interest, not just as a financial idea, but as a life principle. Small, consistent actions in the right direction eventually outweigh massive effort in the wrong one. If your income depends entirely on your presence, Your ceiling is limited by your energy. No productivity system can change that. But when even a small portion of your energy goes toward things that scale learning, ownership, long-term decisions, the dynamic begins to shift. Quietly, gradually, almost invisibly. And that's why so many people quit early, because the early stages don't feel rewarding. We're told the solution is better time management, so we optimize schedules, wake up earlier, and add more structure. But the problem was never time. It was direction. You can perfectly organize a life that's going nowhere. Busyness also protects us from harder questions. Questions like, is this actually moving me toward peace, or just helping me cope? And coping isn't the same as building. The mindset shift is subtle but powerful. Instead of asking, how can I do more? You start asking, what actually matters? You stop measuring days by how full they are and start measuring whether they moved you even slightly closer to stability, flexibility, or calm. That often means fewer tasks, not more. Slower progress, but in the right direction. And yes, it often means being misunderstood for a while. Because leverage looks like doing less until the results appear. In real life, this doesn't mean quitting your job or chasing risky shortcuts. It starts with awareness. Noticing where your time goes. Noticing which efforts repeat without building anything new. Noticing what you might be avoiding by staying busy. Maybe it's learning how money actually works. Maybe it's building a small buffer so emergencies don't feel catastrophic. Maybe it's developing skills that give you more control over your future. None of this is flashy. None of it feels urgent. But all of it reduces future stress. And reducing future stress is a form of wealth we don't talk about enough. Money anxiety isn't just about numbers. It's about predictability. When your financial life feels unpredictable, your brain stays on high alert. You overwork, overcommit, and stay busy because slowing down feels unsafe. Building wealth, even slowly, gives your nervous system evidence that the future isn't always a threat. That's why direction matters more than hustle. So if you've been busy for years and still feel stuck, that doesn't mean you failed. It means you followed what you were taught. But you're allowed to unlearn that. Building wealth isn't about becoming obsessed with money. It's about creating a life where money stops being the loudest voice in your head. You don't need perfection. You don't need constant intensity. You just need to start aiming your energy somewhere that actually supports you. Because real progress is quieter than busyness and far more powerful over time. Take it slowly, stay curious, and remember, direction beats intensity every time.